It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
Systems go.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Get a free sleep screening and consultation with Sound Sleep Medical when Scotty G and the coach broadcast live on Wednesday. Visit Sound Sleep with 6 convenient locations across Utah. Start sleeping better today. Now, the big story of the day today, obviously, Ben, the NBA draft of Jazz moving up to 2. We can play Ryan Smith from Armpit Show in a minute. Can I tell you, though, for the first time, for a long time, I really agree with Screamin' A.
Okay.
Screamin' A went on his television program talking about AJ Dybantsa going to the Wizards, said, quote, "I feel bad for him. The Wizards are an abomination of a basketball team. They are horrible. Don't believe in the organization." Then your guy, Perk, who I know is your favorite analyst lately, he refuted Screamin' A, saying, quote, "I'm trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with playing in Washington, D.C. Last time I checked, I thought D.C. was a big market. I don't see why he's disappointed. I would be excited about bringing chocolate back to Chocolate City."
Okay.
I really felt weird reading that quote.
It's funny hearing you say it.
But that's what he said.
Okay.
Kendrick Perkins will really just say anything, right? Or does he not understand what Screamin' A is saying?
Yeah, he'll just say anything.
Is that what it is? Because honestly, and listen, market size hasn't mattered for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The reason the players want to go to L.A. and New York is because they're big franchises, not necessarily big cities. They want to go to Miami because it's on the beach. Everywhere else, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what size market it is. The Wizards are the worst franchise in the NBA.
Yeah.
They would be the worst franchise in the NBA in L.A. or Miami.
When do you think the last time the Washington Wizards won 50 games was?
Had to be with the old maid and John Wall, right?
Because 50 games is like a good number, but it's not
awesome.
Unreachable.
You're going to the playoffs.
Let me see. When did the Jazz last reach 50? Obviously, they did it
Donovan and Rudy's last
So
year.
was that like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
They did it in
2022.
2021. They did 49 and 21-22. So they fell just short of it. But they had 52 the year before that. They did 52 years before that. They did 51 4 years prior. So like the Jazz get to 50 somewhat consistently. Well, the Washington Wizards last won 50 games in the year, scrolling, 1979.
Wow, really? They're still the Bullets.
Yeah. The Wizards have never won 50 games. They're coming off of 17 wins, 18 wins, 15 wins, 35, 35, 34, 25, 32, 43, 49, really close, 2016, 2017. That wasn't a bad year by any means. But then 41, 46, 44, and then it just goes back to 29, 20, 23, 20. It's bad. It's not a good organization. It hasn't been a good organization for a long time.
Apparently ever.
Yeah, they've got one playoff berth since 2018, and they lost in the first round. They haven't gotten out of the first round since 2017. It's a mess. It's been a mess of an organization, and just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. I love that they got off of Bradley Beal, who we like to call the old maid. Your comparison being the game old maid. You just want somebody to take your bad card, and you're in a much better spot. And they did it. They had the worst player on the worst contract in the NBA, and they suckered the Phoenix Suns into taking the Old Maid. Mm-hmm. And what did they do? They circled back and got 2 Old Maids on their
Trae
roster.
Young and Anthony Davis.
It's like 2 guys that nobody wants in the NBA right now.
Well, not to mention who signed him to that contract in the first place.
Yeah, exactly right.
And it brings me back to the Zach Wilson, when we were talking about Zach Wilson going in the draft. Everybody's like, how high do you think he's going to go, or where should he go, blah, blah, blah. And it's like anywhere but the Jets.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Fall to 7.
But the Jets. Who cares? Fall to the second round. Just don't go to the Jets. Because bad franchises and bad management is bad management. And there have been some examples of poor franchises and poorly managed teams that have had fleeting success, but it never lasts. And most of the time, they just make the wrong decisions. Look at the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns actually got to the NBA Finals under Robert Sarver, who was one of the worst owners in the NBA. Bad person, apparently, too.
Yeah.
And it happens sometimes. But you want to go to a decent situation with decent management. We're going to make the right decisions. If I'm AJ Dybantsa, and it's easy for us to say, but I'd way rather go to the Jazz than the Wizards. I'd even rather go to the Grizzlies than the Wizards, and they're pretty mismanaged.
Yeah, absolutely. But they draft well, and they seem to develop their players well. I wouldn't want to go to Washington either. I totally feel for AJ.
So I don't get what Kendrick Perkins is saying. That makes no sense. And I don't understand that other than the money, I have to go number 1. If I'm AJ, I'm thinking, man, I hope I go 2.
I'll be curious.
I hope Darren Peterson has a good combine so I can go 2.
Ted Leonsis, who owns the Wizards, I'll be curious. Some guys get the number 1 overall pick and they sell the team because it's at a fever pitch. It's like you sell the Boston Celtics sold right after they won a title. I wonder if he holds on to it and says it's just going to go up in value now. I've got the number 1 pick. This is good for me.
He's shown no indication ever wanting to sell.
No, he hasn't.
They've been put under a lot of pressure to sell, and he doesn't.
Also, how else are you going to own a square block in Washington, D.C.? You know, you own a sports team, you can have an excuse for owning an arena and owning a square block.
Does he own that arena? I actually have no idea.
Let's see.
He doesn't own the Caps.
Leonsis threatened to move the Wizards and Capitals from the District of Columbia unless the city provided $600 million in public funding for a renovation of Capital One Arena, which makes me think he owns it.
Does he own the Capitals too?
He does own the Caps. Yes, he does. So let me see. Capital One Arena. Let me see if it says he owns this or not. Neither here nor there. It doesn't tell me. Anyways, so I'll be curious how they go. But no, it's not a good organization. He owns 36% of the building, so he's the primary owner, even if he doesn't own the single majority. Oh, no, he's up to 44% now, so he does own the area.
So it's curious. I'm sure AJ wants to go 1, but I would bet he'd rather go number 2. I would rather go number 2 or 3. I'd rather go to a stable organization if it were me. I mean, look at how many prospects the Clippers drafted back in the day with top 5 picks and just absolutely mangled because they were the Clippers. They even made picks of guys that turned out to be guys and traded them. Who was the guy they traded to the Nuggets that turned out to be really good? They kept him for like a couple of years and then shipped him to the Nuggets. I'd have to go back.
Yeah. So it really matters. And the Wizards have not proven to have good ownership. And even as they've changed and I thought did some okay things, they seem to undo that progress. So that was one of the big stories of draft night. Certainly Washington having the worst record in the NBA and getting paid off with the top pick. That's, the Jazz tried to do that. The Pistons tried to do that, and they all fell to 5. The other big loser in the draft was the Indiana Pacers, who, had they landed in the top 4, would have kept their pick. They dropped to 5, and thus it goes to the Los Angeles Clippers for the why do I always forget his name? Zubats trade. I just keep wanting to say Vucevic, and it's not. The Zubats trade. And look, I really get it. If you had Zubats at 5 and then one of these top 4 picks, you would have been a really good team. I mean, they made the finals last year. I think that would have been an upgrade across the board, and now they don't.
I give more credit. I can't believe I'm saying this. I give more credit to Larry Frank than I do blame to the Pacers.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
If you read kind of what went into that trade, Larry really pushed for the top 5 protection. Mm-hmm. That he really got the Pacers to loosen up their protection, and the Pacers took a risk. And actually, I don't hate the risk for the Pacers. You can't win them all. And they got a great player in Zubats, who is great.
Yeah.
And he is an upgrade to Evan Turner, in my opinion. I don't know. You might disagree. I mean, I suppose they're
Miles Turner.
What did I say, Evan? Miles Turner is what I meant. Thank you.
I totally agree, yeah.
I think Zubats is a better player than Miles Turner, and of course they lost Turner to Milwaukee. Zubats has a great contract, and they thought that they could have their cake and eat it too, and they missed it by a spot. And that blows, but I don't blame the Pacers GM for doing it.
No, that's the type of risk I think you have to make to win a title because they've got a top 10 center in the NBA now on a team that's ready to win, and you also still had a chance to end up with the top 4 pick.
And it just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out, but it was a 50-50, it was a coin toss. And you still got Zubats out of it. It's not like you lost everything, and he's still on a great contract. But had it worked out, you would have really been made. So I'm with you. I don't think actually, though Kevin Pritchard came out and apologized, he's the front office exec, he's the president of the Pacers. I don't think that's something you have to apologize for.
Oh no, that was totally unnecessary.
Yeah. Now
We've seen way worse deals than that, honestly, and that was a risk. And listen, the Clippers lucked out and are going to get a fine player.
Yeah.
But I'd have a tough time barbecuing the Pacers too much for that.
And they were also smart to say top 4 protected. Like, this is a draft where the top 4 guys are expected to be a little bit of a different tier, if not a significantly different tier than the guys after that. The team who I think really got hurt on draft night was the Nets. Brooklyn falls in a draft now, 3 spots, to where the best players on the board, and we'll see, you can make your own determination, but it seems like most people believe the best players on the board right now are point guards. And last year they had 5 first-round picks. They made all of them, and 4 of them were point guards. and now you're drafting most likely best player available is going to be another point guard. And it's why you do need to take best player available. You need one of these guys to hit, but it becomes really awkward.
Hey, that's the way it goes.
Absolutely.
Jazz had the worst record in the league last year, and they got bumped to 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes.
the gamble.
Good luck.
And I'm really curious now to see how people handle tanking with the change in rules and Jazz getting out right in time and being done with this tank. Thank goodness for Jazz fans. I think having to watch another year of the team trying to lose would be bizarre. And we just don't know what the results are going to look like with Adam Silver's latest cat in the wall. So I'm curious to see what this unfolds, and I think the Jazz front office is probably extremely happy to not have it in their back pocket that this is what they have to worry about.
I would guess you're correct.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
All right, Ryan Smith, speaking of the Jazz, he went on to Pitt McAfee's show. And let's play his comments about moving up to number 2.
So first of all, I've hired a pretty good team here that works with Danny Ainge and Austin, and they've got a pretty good track record of how they handle the lottery. And there's a lot of time between now and then to see how things go. I think our ultimate goal is to build a championship, and it'd be irresponsible if everything wasn't on the table to do that. And that's kind of our job. As an owner myself, it's a real interesting thing because I want to be involved, but Danny's also made a living off over-involved owners, right? And so I always try to sit back and say, hey, look, these guys are here. We haven't even gotten together yet. They're all in Chicago. I'm heading there, and we'll sit down and we'll go through it. But the good news is I think that if you look at the bottom half of this or the top half of this draft, it's pretty incredible. And, you're looking out and you're saying, hey, there could be, a few, 7 to 10 time All-Stars.
He wasn't trading the pick off the table.
No, he didn't, nor should they. You should always leave all your options open. Again, if Milwaukee calls and says, what do you think about Walker Kessler and the number 2 pick for Giannis? I think you think, you're all of a sudden a really good team. You're ready to win a championship tomorrow. If that could work out perfectly, and that's just some hypothetical I'm throwing out there. You certainly at least have to listen. So, yeah, you shouldn't take that off the table. But along those lines, I do think he's right. And I think the line that Danny Ainge, and of course Austin Ainge just hasn't been doing the job as long in the role that Danny has. But his line that Danny Ainge has made a living off of over-involved owners, meaning he's seen people not making good decisions because the ownership wants to meddle.
Yeah, because that oligarch put pressure on Billy King to build him a championship team in Brooklyn.
Exactly right. And it worked out really well for him. Who was it in Minnesota? Kahn? Who was the owner?
Yeah, Kahn. David Kahn?
David Kahn. Mm-hmm. Go get Kevin Garnett from them. And he doesn't know what he's doing. And Danny Ainge was right there. So, yes, keep that idea out there as well and see what options you can take advantage of. And trust Danny and Austin. Again, Austin's the president of basketball operations, and Justin Zanik's going to play a huge role in this as well. Trust those guys to do their jobs.
The best example I can think of in a draft like this, making a trade like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that?
Did Cleveland make a mistake trading Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love?
No.
That was supposed to be the greatest draft in the history of drafts.
Uh-huh. And that was the number one pick.
That was the number one pick. And I would argue Giannis is better than Kevin Love's ever been.
Correct.
But that was not a mistake in the slightest.
No, it was not. They were close. The difference being they had a legit number one guy and they traded for the number 3. You're trading for the number one guy, but Giannis is a legit number one guy. We've seen it.
But that's trading the present for the future, or trading the future for the present, which is what a move like that would be.
Uh-huh.
And it worked out in that case.
Like that?
And look, you win a title, it doesn't really matter.
What
You
did
don't
Boston
care
trade for Kevin Garnett? Wasn't it like the 4 pick?
Al Jefferson, Ryan Gomes, and I can't remember what other picks
I think it was
were
a top
involved.
5 pick.
Well, no, because they traded their top 5 pick to Seattle.
For Ray Allen?
For Ray Allen.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also made that trade.
And it worked?
Yes.
So they shouldn't be scared to trade it. That doesn't mean just give it away.
No, don't give it away. But there's only a handful of players you would seriously consider.
But the thing is we fall in love with potential. That's the problem with the draft.
Yes.
I say we, I mean everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody falls in love with what could be. Sometimes a bird in the hand is worth a ball in the carpet. You know what I mean?
I 100% know what you mean. But also, to your point, and I think people do forget this, was like, do you remember what Andrew Wiggins' nickname was?
Carl.
Maple Jordan. People thought he was going to be Michael Jordan.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was the talk. You hear people now talk about Darren Peterson. It's like, he gets compared to Kobe. No one gets compared to Kobe. Or he gets compared to Michael. Nobody does. Yes, they do. Deshaun Stevenson got compared to Michael Jordan. Like, that's what people thought the Jazz were getting with the 23rd pick or whatever. Yeah, people thought Andrew Wiggins was going to be Michael Jordan. He's fine. He's a one-time All-Star and was the starting small forward on a championship team. Like, that's pretty good for a number 1 overall pick. Now, it wasn't the team that drafted him. It was his 3rd stop in the NBA, but he had a good run. He's had a good career. He's made a bunch of money. But, yeah, if you seriously think Giannis would come to Utah, would sign an extension in Utah, you could rehab him, playing him 50 games a year, get him to the playoffs fully healthy, and then your roster is still largely complete with Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Giannis. That's a legit contender. So you should absolutely pay attention to those things. Absolutely. If you feel like you could get him here, you think he's healthy enough to be on the court, I think it would be ridiculous not to.
I saw somebody on the TalkSnap advocate that the Jazz trade the number 2 pick for Austin Reeves.
Okay. That seems rich to me for unrestricted free agent Austin Reeves. Of course, you can't trade for an unrestricted free agent, so that's another problem here. But yeah, that seems pretty rich to me. Especially because I think they have Austin Reeves. His name's Keontae George. This is the exact same player.
Yeah, but worse defensively somehow.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah.
What's a better nickname, Key or AR?
AR. No question about it.
This is just because this number is 15? I didn't really take you for a gun guy.
Well, it's how AK-47 got his name. Same thing.
I was never comfortable with it.
Quincy Lewis, current Jazz president of alumni relations.
I thought
don't
he
know what
was
his role
the
is.
Lone Peak High School guy.
Different Quincy Lewis. He told, I believe the story is he told AK to change his number to 47 because that's not what he wore in Russia. But he said that's a great nickname, and AK listened.
What was his number in Russia?
I don't know. Christian, get on that. He was like 17 playing at that point. He got drafted when he was a baby. So, yeah, his name was changed specifically to be the gun model. AR-15, but that's not what they call him because of all the violence.
Just AR. Hey there, AR.
So the Washington Bullets changed their name.
Is it anybody calling me, or is it just LeBron who calls him AR?
I think Adele also called him AR when he was trying to trade him for Jaren Jackson Jr., right?
Okay, so it's LeBron's camp.
It's LeBron's people entirely.
Hello. By the way, our friend Wild Turkey Fart Blunt snaps in. He says, I always thought Deshaun Stevenson's best comp was Abe Lincoln.
Well, he had Abe Lincoln tattooed on his neck.
And there was a funny story about that, wasn't it? I can't remember. I shouldn't say. I thought there was a funny story on how he selected that. Anyway.
Right on the Adam's apple.
I thought it was awesome.
Great president.
Hey, yeah.
Hard to argue.
Dude, he should be coming back to Salt Lake for Summer League for the 250.
No, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Patriotic.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. They are.
Andrew Jackson. We might have different thoughts on it.
I could see, in all seriousness, I could see them bringing Deshaun back at some point. They brought Chris Morris back.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder what Deshaun's doing. He ended up having a pretty decent career as well.
Champion.
Yeah.
With the Mavericks. And he wasn't like a critical part of that team, but he played.
Andrew Wiggins was closer to Deshaun Stevenson than he was Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah. Well,
important to remember when you're drafting.
Neither one of them was anywhere close to Michael Jordan.
Correct.
So, yeah, accurate statement, Ben. Stay tuned. We'll talk some NBA playoffs. We'll talk about what's going on with Minnesota with Ben Beacon of Locked On Timberwolves. That's coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.